Welcome to this week's Endurance for Everyone podcast.
Endurance Now Coaching, the relentless pursuit of excellence. Are you looking to increase your fitness level, get stronger, or reach a new goal? There are many people who share that same desire, but often life or injuries get in the way, and their progress slows or even stops. Professional coaching brings a unique element to staying focused, developing the right fitness and nutrition plan, and having a certified coach to help you stay on target and reach your goals. Zendurance Now helps you reach your goals through customized training plans, one-on-one consultation, and constant motivation. Whether you're a local or remote, we've got this. Visit www.zendurancenow.com and learn how we can help you.
Is for entertainment purposes only. Though the hosts of this show are certified Ironman coaches, their attempts at long-course triathlons and endurance events should not be taken as an endorsement for you to do something stupid too. You should make your own bad decisions, then podcast about it. Now, let's start the show.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 94 of the, I keep almost saying the old show stuff. You're with me over there?
I'm with you, John. I'm just waiting for you to say the right show stuff.
The right show stuff. This is, what the hell are we? Endurance for Everyone.
For everyone.
We're the back of the Endurance for Everyone Slow Triathlete show. No, we are the Endurance for Everyone podcast. First one of November, right?
Yes, sir.
We're getting close. Okay.
Unless you release something that I didn't know about.
No, you know about it. So somebody would be complaining about it by now, right?
True. Somebody would have something to say.
All right, I'm John. I'm down here in Tampa.
And I'm Rob. I'm up here in Pennsylvania.
In the coldness.
The coldness.
What did you say it was up there the other day?
Yeah. Well, the other day, well, see, it depends on if you go by the weather app or if you go by my back porch thermometer. My back porch thermometer was reading a little hot at 36. The weather app was showing a solid 31, which felt every single bit of that whenever I was out on the bike ride.
All right.
So
because take 31 and then add the wind resistance, and because you're doing 30, 40 miles an hour on the bike, so
uphill. Yes, both ways.
Right. So, how was your weekend?
My weekend was good. I got out and I got a ride in on Saturday. I got a run in on Sunday, which we can go through and talk about. It was lovely. Wife got a little bit under the weather, as did the kid, and so that therefore led into me feeling a little sick last night, which leads into more topics of discussion for later, should we choose to get to them, if you choose to brave it. But before we get into any of my stuff, how was your weekend, John?
Actually, I've had a slow week. Didn't do a lot of training in the past week. Nancy had some surgery last week, and so I've been, I was taking care of her, and then her, she had family come in to kind of help out. So it's kind of just running around, just making sure everything was taken care of. So I did
she's doing all right. She's doing better.
Yeah, she came through like a troop. I knew she's pretty strong chick. So. I knew she'd have.
You seem to gravitate towards this.
I do, but she's got she's pretty strong, and I had the same surgery 12 years ago so I kind of knew what was going to happen and how I was going to be. The hard part is getting her still. How it. I don't know if you've ever had this, but you get. It feels good for a while, so you start doing stuff, and of course, then you overdo it a little bit, and then it starts hurting. So you sit down.
Right.
So, she had a knee issue. So, but it's taken care of now. So, the good thing is that she'll be up and going in no time and right back into it. So,
good.
You take care of it. Good. Yeah, she did really well.
Good. Glad to hear it.
Yeah. So as far as training, not really much, So talk about lighting up a Training Peaks account in red.
I was going to say, so yours might match mine then. You know what I have? 3 red, 1 yellow, or 2 yellow, and 1 green last week.
Yeah, you did. You did. I think it was just
it was not typical for me. Yeah.
No. It was a weird week for a lot of people. I think just looking around, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just the time change and getting cooler, and people are just getting readjusted. Maybe.
Right.
So
you never know.
Who knows? So you biked on this weekend?
Yeah, I biked with Brandon from the group on Saturday, and then I ran with my friend Brian on Sunday. Both workouts, as I said, they were good, but neither was exactly as my coach prescribed them.
And we noticed. Yeah, I noticed. That's okay.
You're allowing life to get in the way, John.
Yeah, I allow it. I will allow it.
I appreciate it.
I'm raising my hands. You can't see it. I'm raising my hands. In a matter of
testify.
You are
raise the roof. Or what are we doing?
You are absolved.
Oh. Excellent, John. I appreciate it. Couple questions came up through the run and through the bike, though, and some stuff to interject and to ask you about, and some coaching type of stuff, some just conversation points in general to see what you think about them.
Okay, well, hit me then.
Well, so Brandon brought up some stuff, and he is a listener and in the group. So what we'll do is we're going to wait on his and put his questions till later. And I'm just going to go ahead and jump in. You heard me say about I'm feeling under the weather, and my friend Brian, he was feeling under the weather. We went out and did a run, which he's the one I described, though. I said it works out well whenever you go out with somebody because he is much faster than me. So I had thought you had given me like a 9-mile tempo run on Sunday, and it was really a 9-mile interval run, which is why I said I didn't do it as prescribed because we just went out and ran. Now, his slow, easy pace is my kind of pushing at pace, and we did go a little slower than I've gone with him in the past on that. He can usually push me to a mid-7s pace, and we were in the mid to high 8s. But if you notice the profile, we were kind of doing some little bit of rolling hills in there. Yes. Which is why I decided to ditch the interval because if it doesn't line up with the uphill or the downhill, I just wanted to be able to just run kind of as prescribed. But that's what I wanted to ask you because as I said, he was sick and slept basically 10 hours the night before, kind of like a head cold type of thing. Yeah. So the little guy, the little baby, our son is sick with a runny nose. My wife, same thing, runny nose, sore throat, and my throat started getting a little sore last night. So my questions were, what as a coach you'd say to do or not to do as far as actually getting out, training, or exercising when you're sick and when you're feeling under the weather?
Well, you know what I'm going to say, right?
I think I know your answer, John, but I gotta hear you say.
Well, the general rule is, if it's in your head, go ahead. If it's in your chest, get some rest. You've heard that, right? Mm-hmm. So
I've heard that.
So if it's a head cold, it really depends on how you're feeling, but there's ways to. You have to kind of, as endurance people and as people that like to train, we're kind of headstrong when it comes to being sick, because you want to still go out there. You don't want to miss that one workout, right?
Don't want it to red light.
Yeah. So I think you almost have to look at being sick as almost like a benefit.
Okay. So explain to me how that's a benefit, John. Let's see how good of a salesman you are.
Well, Well, for one thing, you got to look at what being sick means. Being sick means your body is tired. Okay. Mm-hmm. You don't get, healthy people don't get sick. If your body is rested and clear and everything like that, you're not going to get sick. But you get sick, it's a message that you're probably exceeding your body's limit to something, right? Something's going on. So the thing is, it's like you almost have to look at it like it's almost like a heads up.
Okay.
Okay, something's wrong. It's probably time to shut it down for a day or two, and kind of like, give yourself the ability to rest. But you can also think of it as almost like a training phase, if that makes sense. It probably doesn't, right?
It doesn't. Please explain. I know there's people out there saying, I don't get it, John. And I'm saying, I don't get it, John.
Okay, well, instead of worrying that you're writing off like months of training by taking a week off or even a day or whatever it is, you can use that time to catch up on the sleep, to catch up on the rest, right? So use it. So I mean, like I said in the first piece is that your body's trying to tell you something when you're sick. So, but I'm telling you, if you got a cold,
it might be telling you shouldn't go around licking doorknobs. I mean, right. I don't know.
You're right, exactly. But if you've got a head cold and you can go run, I've done it. Everybody's done it, right?
Right.
If you just got a head cold, you're stuffy, things like that. If you can do it, go do it. But the problem is that the rest is good for you. So you get the extra sleep. You take the time to kind of like review everything, right? You look. Kind of maybe look at the patterns what caused you to get sick. The cold weather's not causing you to get sick. You don't get a cold.
That's what my mom told me my whole life, John.
Every mother's told us that, right? Put on your jacket, you're going to get sick. No, you're not. You get sick from other things. Cold weather's not going to get you sick.
I agree with that. I do just want to. I want to interject with ingredients here, John, and that is, everybody. You said it. Your mom tells you, put on your coat. Cold weather is going to make you sick. It's not the cold weather makes you sick. People tend to get sick around this time of the year when you're first getting inside because it's getting colder, so you're inside in a more confined space with other people generally, right. And or you have HVAC systems that are turning on and for the first time, and it's just kicking up a lot of stuff, and that's where you get the the cold and the flu from. You're not going to get a cold and the flu from being outside. Now there are other ailments, what pneumonia and so forth that you can get if you're out, and hyperthermia and frostbite isn't, just to name a few that are probably not good to get. But yeah, being out in the cold doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get a cold.
Yeah, right, exactly. So what I'm saying is use the time wisely. If you've got to be in bed or if you got to be on the couch, take the time to maybe look at your logs and see if you can find a pattern. Take the time to look up your eating habits, see if there's something you can do differently.
So you're saying more along the lines of make the best use of it, but also you keep coming back to see if there's any patterns. And I guess I'd agree with you there. If you're worn down, if you're sick because you're worn down, but now say it this way, hey, I know why I got a little bit of a scratchy throat, and that's because my wife and kid got it, and I got it from them. It's just quite right. It's quite that simple. One gets it, the others are going to. And that's where when I say kind of agree to disagree, I agree with you. Like you said, if it's in your head, you're okay. If it's in your chest, you rest. And that being said, I like personally kind of getting out whenever if I have a little bit of stuffiness, because running invariably makes me blow my nose 4,000 times, and the first mile or so is just horrible because I feel like I'm short of breath and whatnot. But I don't know how to say it, but it's like a compounding fatigue. When I'm done with a run, when I'm feeling under the weather, I seem to sleep just so much better that night as well. And or I don't feel as bad about resting on the couch afterwards. And I think, I get a lot of that stuff out of me. I get the fresh air into me. And then at the end of the day, I rest better, which I feel personally helps facilitate my recovery. Now that said, I'm not out there, if I'm, getting sick out of both ends and 106 fever, I'm not out there. What I mean? This is just the general little bit of stuffiness, type of deal.
We're not talking about the flu or pneumonia or something like that. You're talking about just that irritating little sniffle and everything's stuffed up and you can't breathe. But the problem is,
correct.
And I'll say this now, you don't seem like you have this issue, but the problem with going out anyway when you're sick is that if you're a type A, you're going to get frustrated because you're not going to be able to go as fast. So what are you going to do? You're going to push harder because you're going to get irritated that you can't hit that 9-minute mile. You're at 10 or 11.
Yeah.
So you're going to start pushing harder and you're sick. So now your body's going to take more of a beating and you're going to get worse. Right?
No. Yep. So I agree with all of that.
So instead of down for a day or 2 days, now you're down for a week. Right. So it kind of goes back to my discussions in other shows about why would I run 26 miles when training for a marathon when I know running 26 miles will put me out of commission for a week and I won't be able to train. I'd rather run the shorter distances and maintain the training plan than run one 26-mile, training day and not be able to run for 4 days afterwards because, I killed myself. I'd rather.
But John, you got to run the distance so mentally, you can run the distance.
I know, and I hear that from a lot of people, and You know, and I get it. I mean, Jennifer used to say it all the time. You know, it's mental, but you know, sometimes you got to be I won't say stronger, because that that gives the connotation of weakness, and it's not a weakness. It's just it's just, you know, they need to mentally know that they can do the distance, and there's something to that. I agree with that, but you know, you have to look at how it affects your body. You know, if you know, being a 250 pound guy like I am, 255, you know, running 26 miles is going to put a beating on me.
Right.
You know, so, you know,
it puts a beating on everybody, but I having been there and run those distances at that weight, I understand exactly what you're saying. Yes. But I mean, it also, A, it was because I was a new runner, but B, it was when I was heavier. But yeah, you know, a 6-8 mile run used, you know, after I'd complete my long run on the weekend, every weekend I'd be out of commission. Like I did my first half marathon distance, and I was on the couch for, you know, 24 hours afterwards, couldn't move.
Right.
You know,
exactly.
And once again, it's partly I was a new runner, and partly the, you know, the weight that I was carrying at that point. So.
Right. Exactly. And so another thing is, like, you have to look at maintaining a positive attitude, right? You have to learn how to accept that you can't do what you can't do, right? And that goes not just for sickness, that goes for injuries, you know, that goes for everything like this. So you have to practice patience, because, you know, you have to trust that the body's going to heal itself, right? And give it time to heal itself. If you push forward, even in Dan's case, you know, if you push forward too quickly on a repaired knee, you're going to make it worse. You're going to be right back in there again. So you have to,
and that's where you got to follow once again, follow the doctor as they prescribe. Right. You know, once again, if you lay around and do nothing for your PT, your scar tissue is gonna, you know, your knee is gonna heal in an incorrect way to where the scar tissue limits mobility. But if you push too hard, you risk tearing everything, and then you're much farther behind.
Well, I think when people are sick or when they're injured, and I'm not talking about anybody I know personally in this, but I think a lot of people, well, some people I know personally, but when people get sick or they get injured and they take time off, they almost see that as a weakness. That their body is not right, so now that means I'm weak, right? I'm not mental, I'm not tough enough. So, but I'd say that you build toughness is being built by accepting that you can control what you can control, and you have to accept what you can't control. And accept it, right, and move on.
Gotcha.
And move it in little steps. I mean, you're talking about the end game, right? The end game is to be healed, but there's little steps along the way to that end game, right? You know, you're not going to go in. You're not going to have pneumonia today and be healed tomorrow.
It'd be nice, but I don't think that's how it works.
Right, and we've all had that nagging cold that you feel fine, but you have the cough for like 2 months afterwards. You're constantly coughing. You know, everybody gets that, right? So, you know, I think it's mentally tough to learn how to just accept what it is and move forward with it, you know, and just do what you need to do to get better. So, you know, the basic, not the basic, but the bottom line is that endurance sports and training for endurance sports, and endurance means everything to everybody. There was a big thing on the slow runners community today that I had to get involved in, because they get stuck on this. You know, what's considered slow? What's considered a slow runner?
And I said something different to everybody.
Well, my answer to that was there's no such thing as a slow runner. You're a runner. Right? Okay. Why does it have to? Everybody's different. I mean, you can go out there. I mean, the only difference might be that woman that won the marathon yesterday. I don't know how many people are that she's slower than, right? But for the most part, there's always somebody faster than you. So are you slow? You running a 5-6 minute mile? Are you considered a slow runner because you can't run a 4-minute mile? No, you're a runner, right? So it doesn't matter.
Right.
And they get hung up on these things. And the thing is that, you know, the training for endurance sports of any kind, whether it's a mile, a 5K, or an ultra marathon, it's going to wreak havoc on your immune system. It's going to get you, and you have to take care of yourself, or you're not going to get through it. Right. So,
right.
I say right too much. I've realized that listening back to old shows, I say right a lot.
Yep.
So
and a lot of times, and forgive me, and the bad habit I have is I will sit here and say, yep, yep. And when I forgive me, I'm not saying I'm in disagreement with you, but one of the things my father always looked at me and say, when I'm talking to you, you acknowledge me. Sometimes I'm going along and acknowledging things and then saying yes, and then a minute later I'm like, well, no, John, but. And so we all have our quirks from how we grew up.
Right, exactly. So I see Isaiah exactly a lot too. But my thing is that either I'm actively participating in the conversation and talking over somebody, or I'm not saying anything and I'm just listening. And
through the magic of editing, though, you can smooth that all out.
Not in real life, though. You can't. No, it doesn't work.
No, that's true.
So that's my take on being sick. I don't know. Did you get an answer from that somewhere?
Yep. Good enough. We got a bunch of answers, John. It's just a matter of whether people are going to want to adhere to it or not.
People are going to do what they're going to do. It's like, but I'm always going to send at you if you say, what do I say when you say I'm not feeling right today? What do I say? Do what you can do.
Do what you can.
Yeah, yep. You can. If you can't do the 10 miles that's on the plan and you can do 5, do 5. If you need a day off, take a day off.
Yeah. At this point, I'm going to interrupt John and interject our medical disclaimer that we are not medical doctors. And if you're feeling sick, please consult your medical professional.
What is it we talked about last time? If it hurts for more than 72 hours, get some help.
Yeah. Quit listening to us or listen to us in their waiting room and talk to them.
But John and Rob told us on the podcast that I didn't have to go see a doctor.
They said, this was only 71 hours. I'm okay.
I'm okay. I can go run this marathon.
That's it.
So you said you had some questions about the ride, too, though, with Brandon?
I do. I'm going to go off mental script here. And did you see the email I sent you maybe an hour ago or no?
Oh, the one with the woman that ran it backwards? Or something like that?
Yes, you were talking about the marathon. You said, except for the woman who ran it real fast. And I'm thinking, for anyone who doesn't know, okay, first off, complete digression here. I'm sorry. I'm on a daily I'm on a daily news feed one that I get called The Skim. I'm also on a daily email that comes Monday through Friday, and it's Now I Know. And it's just random facts and stories and so forth. And the one that came through today was about the New York Marathon, where somebody, and a lady, and I don't have it in front of me at this point, but I do know the last name was Galloway, and I don't believe there's any relation to Jeff Galloway. It wasn't mentioned, at least. Set a Guinness World Record because she ran the marathon backwards. And she's apparently, done multiple races. Do you remember what it was? It was something. I think her time was faster than some of my forwards times.
Oh yeah, it was like 78th or something.
5 something.
Yeah. It was crazy. And yeah, San Diego Marathon first, and then it was crazy. It was like 5 hours and something. Hold on.
Yeah, I mean, so anyone out there, I mean, first off, I'd recommend subscribing to these just to check them out. But also, if you want to Google it, like I said, her name is Galloway, and her last name Galloway, and she was doing it for charity, and she ran the entire marathon backwards.
Yeah, so 6 hours, 6 minutes, 51 seconds.
That's great.
Yeah.
So, sorry. I wanted to interject that just because in 3 months from now that won't be relevant, but a day later I think it's fun to bring it up. So but yeah, no, some of the questions Brandon and I were discussing while we were out on the ride, which once again 31 degrees pre-wind chill factor, it got pretty cold pretty quick. And so you had me wanting to do an hour and a half. I managed to get an hour in, and we just kept talking the whole time, trying to get our minds off of how cold it was while we were out there. But one of the things we had discussed and he had brought up was, two things. He had said, he asked for us to maybe discuss some off-season training or, what do you do for maintenance? And I feel like we've hit like some of that stuff recently, but maybe not condensed it down. We've talked about like indoor trainer and this and that and everything. But the other thing we had discussed was he even jokingly said about like off-season, and I had said about, your off-season you always say is like January 14th or January 17th.
It's a day in January of some time.
Yeah, one day where it's too cold. But for that, I guess my question for you is, when is, and I say it's all relative, when does your race season actually start down there, and when does it actually end? Like, because I know there's going to be some running races, 5K, 10Ks, and so forth. But when is the bulk of the stuff down your direction?
As far as running goes, that's year round. That never stops because Disney is in January. You have races through Christmas, so that never stops. Now, if you want to talk triathlons, the last big one is November. It's coming up. Long Leaf is usually in November. In this area, there's others as well. But October, November, the triathlons stop, and they kick back in around February.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a chilly
earlier. See, I had told him. I thought, just based off my recollection, I knew it was in I wanted to say, I said late October, which early November is the same, and I thought they started in April. I didn't realize they started as early as February down there.
Oh yeah. Now, in fact, now I got to change that because I just thought of one. The not hits, but the Rev. Is it Rev 7? Are they still around?
Rev 3 bought out or combined with Challenge, but then split back off. So it is Rev 3 again.
There's one in there's one in Naples in the beginning of January in Naples, Florida.
Yeah. So pretty much you can do triathlon year round down there too if you want it.
So I would say the off season is December.
that month. Okay. Fair enough. And we say it jokingly, but then in all seriousness, most of our stuff up here, like June is really when they really get going. There's one or two that I could say in May to do triathlons, and you're pretty much done in September. I don't recall. I'm sure I could find an October one, but the bulk of them are like June through October up here. It's you can stretch it a month.
Really
direction.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and that varies seasonally. So it's much different to discuss what your off season is versus my off season, So I guess, with that, what, I guess what do you do with your week of an off season? And then, but as a coach, what do you want me to do in my off season for either? I guess I know I can jump into like a race here or there, like I've talked about, but they're really not there. But what do you want me to do as far as racing or maintenance, or just what are you looking at when you're putting on a calendar, and what should people be looking at?
Yeah, and a lot of it depends on what you can do and what you can't do. When I start putting and I probably shouldn't assume this, but I assume that if the conditions aren't right for you to do an hour and a half on the bike outside, do it inside. And that's why some of the things I built can be done on a trainer as well.
Well, yeah, and the workout you gave me would have been better on a trainer, but it's one of those. If that might, I would like to do more riding outside, and I'm going to try to. But I try to ride outside as long as possible, even if that means taking a shorter hour workout versus doing an hour and a half on the trainer. And I thought you'd be okay.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I was just talking to looking at a couple more clients to come on to the coaching, and we were talking. They're doing the bike portion, the relay portion for Ironman Dublin next year. So they're looking at that, and we were really talking about that. And then they said, how much is trainer rides? And I said, we live in Florida. You can ride outside every day if you want. So, I said, if you have the chance to go outside versus the trainer, go outside. Do it outside, because trainers, to me, and I've said this before, trainers suck. To me, I hate them. Mm-hmm. And I don't sit right on them, and they hurt me. I'd much rather be outside. And I just think you get a better, it's kind of like running on a treadmill versus running outside to me. I hate running on a treadmill. I know they have their purpose, but we live in Florida. There's no reason to be on a treadmill. Right.
So some people would disagree. And then once again, we'd gone through that in a prior episode with it. Mm-hmm. And I do know what some of the elites that only train on the bike trainer and only train on the treadmill, and it works very well for them. And they're trying to limit that risk of injury or getting run over or whatnot. But hey,
but I'll tell you, the only time
they're in it for a much different reason as well. Right. I'm in what I do because I want to be outside and experiencing things.
Right. Well, I'll tell you, the only time I've been in when I blew out my knees was on a treadmill. Was not outside.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I should have stopped when they started hurting. So I
listen to your body.
Right, I did exactly what I was talking about not to do in the beginning. I felt them go, I felt them start hurting, and I kept going, and I just hurt them worse. So, but I've never been hurt on. I get hurt on trainers and I get hurt on treadmills. Mm-hmm. I just do, and because my body, I feel out of balance on a treadmill. I feel weird. Outside, outside I still feel weird. I probably look weirder, but it's more comfortable for me, at least. I did a run today and felt really good actually today. So as far as you, when we're talking about a longer prolonged off season, and the way I look, like, it's you said it, you basically go back into maintenance mode. So this is a time where you're going to do the long zone 2 stuff, the fat adaptation stuff, the 2-hour trainer rides, and at 90 cadence, and and maintain it the whole time, the long, slow, boring stuff. So
that sounds so great, John.
So great. That's when you Netflix and chill, man.
I don't think that means what you think it means.
I don't think that means what you think it means. That was a new epiphany for me just recently, by the way. I had no idea what that meant.
There's 2 or 3 random things there's 2 or 3 things I don't even know how or when I pick them up, but then like later on, like months later, like it'll come up in conversation like that, and I'll say, that's this. My wife's like, how do you know that? And it makes it seem like I'm a real sketchy person when I know some of that stuff. Like I know what some of the acronyms are on like Craigslist Personals. Never been on them, you know what I mean? But I heard somebody say them once. Yeah,
it's like in a guy's DNA to know that stuff, I think.
Yeah, it's like, look at it. I can figure this out.
Anyway, so you put on Netflix and you kind of zone out, really.
There you go.
But you know
That's
what?
better.
Right, you kind of zone out, and a good thing to do is what everybody's been talking about recently again is Zwift. I don't know if you use that, but that is really a really good way to like occupy your mind while you're on these long, slow rides on the trainer.
Yeah.
Things like that. We're trying to, I think Roxanne and Dustin are trying to set up a teamE4E group rides on Zwift, which is kind of cool that you can do that.
Get on there and do. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get on there and join. That would be fun.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing to see, and I like that people are trying to do that kind of stuff. But really, these long off seasons, you're luckier in that way, is that you do have a long off season, and you can kind of pull back and just do that. I can do that too. I can create my own off season. I don't have to keep racing. Right. I can take off from November till St. Anthony's in April. I could. Mm-hmm. But we found out last week. Yeah, I think the day after, 2 days after Nance's surgery, that my next half marathon was canceled. December 2nd, so I don't have another race.
What happened there?
The damage from Irma is still so bad down there that they can't do the race. It's still flooded.
John, it's like it's meant to be. You can still sign up for the Nittany Valley Half Marathon on December 3rd and come on up.
Well, the funny thing is I text, of course, my coach, Megan, and I said, basically, I just found out Everglades was canceled. I need to find another race. And she said, no, that's a blessing in disguise. Now you don't have to worry about a race until Croom in January. This is good.
Yeah.
This is a blessing in disguise. Don't sign up for anything. And I'm like,
so your coach
my hands are on the keyboard already. I was like, I don't like going that long, because I've said it before also that racing is almost the motivator for me. Well, it's not almost, it is. I have to have that carrot right there.
Yeah.
And Croom is like, how long is Croom? Let me see. Croom is
long enough.
Yeah, because I have this all on my phone. Croom is 60 days and 13 hours away. That's a long time for me to not race.
You have a countdown going?
Oh yeah, on my phone.
Is that an app, or you just know that?
That's an app.
Oh, I got
What's
the app? John, share the app. I don't know that. I didn't know this existed.
What's the app name? It's T-0 ZERO. And it's you just enter it in, and you can put it in on an Apple phone. You can put it in your shortcuts, to the left if you go all the way to the left.
Well, you're a step above me on technology for that. I'm writing down T-0, and eventually it's going to end up on my phone, and it'll probably end up in the health folder, which is 4 levels deeper than where I think it should be.
So they're always hiding. Yeah. I always put my races in there so I know how many days until the next race, because I'm an anal ass sometimes. So I need to know. I need to know. Yeah, kind of right. What was I saying? So now I have 60 days before my next race, and that's almost like that's pushing it for me. But the next race is not it's a trail run. It's the same one I did last January.
Right.
So I have, but I do have November 15th. We have the kickoff for team and training for St. Anthony's, and we're doing a swim the first night. So I haven't been in the pool in a while. So this is going to be interesting.
You're saying my lack of swimming is still beating my once a week is still more than yours.
I give you swimming this week again.
I saw that. I appreciate it. I got to make sure apparently I actually have to pay attention to the swim schedule so I don't get kicked out again.
Yeah. And if you want to, well, yeah, you have a different. It's the same thing here. The Y that I go to now. I mean, they'll say 3 lanes are open in the competition pool, and then because the swim team from the high school is going to be there, and you go there, and the high school team's there for 4 hours. They don't give up those lanes. So
no,
little millennial asses.
They're not even vandalizing stuff.
They're not even millennials, man. they're like the next one.
Yeah, we don't have a definition or a name for them yet.
Yeah, I got a few, but I can't say them on the radio, on the show.
Sounds like it's time for topic change, John.
And with that, ding, 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 ding. So my off season is, what I make it. I'm sure Megan would want me to take more time off. I'm getting better at it. But if I take too much time off, I get too used to it.
Yeah.
And I feel like I haven't done anything in a week, but for a good reason. But it's like, you start feeling, you can almost feel yourself getting fatter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
been there and there.
Oh yeah.
Know that's happening.
Yeah. And I haven't been eating right, and I haven't, and I'll just be honest with it. It's very easy to fall back into that stuff. And then you've got Thanksgiving coming, and you've got Christmas coming, and it's just it's a struggle. Third world problem. First world problems, right?
Correct.
So, right.
Calories are so cheap, we have to eat them in abundance, and then pay to go to the gym to burn them off.
So I guess I know when you talk about your off season, I guess it really depends on what your goals are. I mean, you're not really trying to lose weight. I guess you are. We always are, but when is your next race? Do you have one on the schedule? Nothing soon.
I haven't signed up yet, but I could potentially jump into that half marathon. I think I'm going to do that about a month out from now, which is what it is. I'm not really going to get any much faster in that time frame. I'll know in the next day or two if I'm signing up for it and have you put that on my calendar. But really, my next race won't technically, unless I jump into like a 5 or 10K, will be the Pittsburgh Marathon in May.
Oh, okay. So you've got a while.
Yes.
So
5-6 months.
So we really
if I do that race 6 months, yeah, half a year.
So we really need to start talking about that goal. What you're looking for in there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we should.
I mean, what are you trying to do with that marathon? What are you trying to?
As I've said before,
it dovetails into what we wanted to talk about, right? And how it's going back to that goal setting thing that we talked about last week.
Right.
But
and that being said is like I'd like to be faster. I'd like to PR. My PR was set there a few years ago at a 4:02. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to go faster than that. And I kind of like you said, hey, lose weight. I wouldn't mind losing weight. I'm looking into something else, and just a small interjection. And I'd sent you a note on it, and that is, I don't know if anyone out there has checked it out, but somebody has recently told me about dietbet.com. Have you heard that? At it and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I'm debating getting in on that. They have 1 month challenges and 6 month challenges, and I'm debating jumping in on a couple of those because some of them that start today or tomorrow, literally, would be done May 5 or 6, which therefore gives me exactly, 6 months if I wanted to try to align a weight loss goal with that race. Not saying that weight is a direct dictator, but we all know if I lose so much weight, I should be able to run a little faster in that race, at least than I currently am running right now.
So you would say Pittsburgh is your goal race right now?
3 goals for the year, we'll say. Pittsburgh, I want to win, I guess, my age group in something early season because I want to go to nationals.
Right.
I want to go to nationals. I want to do both days. I want to sign up for the open sprint the one day and qualify for the Olympic the other day.
Gotcha.
So those would be the top 3 goals for 2018.
Okay. So have we ever set SMART goals with you?
We have not set SMART goals. My wife thinks most of my goals are pretty dumb, but we have not set any. You and I have not sat down and mapped out my SMART goals, John.
Okay. Do you know what a SMART goal is?
I do, and I mean it's a business thing. Anyone out there who hasn't listened, I listen to the EO Fire podcast, and they talk about SMART goals all the time. And I may not get these perfect, John, just off the cuff, and you can tell me which ones I get wrong. Mm-hmm. SMART is an acronym. Mm-hmm. S.M.A.R.T. SMART is specific. M for measurable, S.M.A. for attainable or achievable, R would be relevant, and T would be time bound.
Right on it.
Whew. All right.
So the basic thing is we have to look at what you're, it's one thing to come up and say, I want a PR. I want a PR next year.
Right.
Okay, well, we need to be a little bit more specific than that. So you've already said that. You've already said, I want to PR in Pittsburgh, or, your record for Pittsburgh. Right. Mm-hmm. So we know. So that's specific. We've already set that. We know what it is. And it's measurable. We know 4 hours and 2 minutes. That was your fastest. We need to beat that, right?
Right.
So the next thing is it attainable? Is it achievable?
Well, kind of. Let me go back into that measurable aspect of it too. I'm saying I want to PR. We could knuckle down even more. Do I want to run? I'll add. It doesn't sound like much of a change. I want to go sub 4. So I don't want. I would like to. Everybody wants a PR, but I want to. My actual goal is sub 4, which that's the difference. I could run a 4:56. That would still is a PR, but I want to go 3:59, 3:59:59, or I'd like to go much less than that, but that would be the absolute upper end on it. That's more measurable.
So at the most end of 3:59:59. I'm looking at something that's running at a 9:09 pace.
Okay.
For 4 hours, basically.
Right.
So we look at it then. Is that achievable? Can you do that? Can we get to that? Now you're running at that kind of a pace at times now, right?
Yes.
So what we need to do is get you to run at that pace for 4 hours.
Right.
Personally, I think that's very achievable in the amount of time till May. Oh yeah, 7 months. Yeah, that's very achievable, right? Mm-hmm. So then you look at relevance, right? How are we going to do that? What are we going to do to get you to that point? So it's not going to make much sense. Okay, he wants to run a sub 4 hour marathon in Pittsburgh in May, so I'm going to give him 100-mile bike rides. Right?
I've heard cycling does help your running, but I don't know if that much cycling is necessary.
Right. We'll use cycling and swimming as the cross training stuff. But you're not going to get to a sub 4 hour marathon by riding your bike all the time. You got to run.
Right.
So we have to just make sure it's relevant, and we'll do that. We'll work it out. And 7 months is so long. You'll be able to do that easily, I think. See, I have such confidence.
Jinxing it, Coach.
So much confidence in you. That's the thing. And is it time bound? We know it's time bound because we know when the Pittsburgh Marathon is, right?
Right.
So we know exactly how much time we have.
Early May.
So we need to get you signed up for it then. Does it open for signups?
Yes, I signed up for it. Now I don't know what the current price is on it, but they were running a special the day, and that was on their mailing list. So the day it opened, and I don't know when it opened, let's say 11 o'clock, and they don't tell you how many entries. The first so many entries were $65, and I got in at $66. And my friends, I know a couple people else signed up for it. They got in like $68. They literally, like, I was sitting there typing, and my wife was like, "Hey, can you zip my dress for me?" And I zipped her dress, and I turned back around, and it was up $1. I'm like,
you just cost me $1.
So yeah, I already signed up for it. I'm in. So
good. Okay, good. Is it in Tiny Peaks? I haven't looked that far ahead. We'll make sure it's in there.
No. I don't think my coach has put it in yet.
I'll get it in there. So I need to know the exact date. Just shoot that to me, and I'll get it in there for you. So I mean, we have said we have really a good SMART goal for Pittsburgh. Right?
Okay.
So, but then you're talking about nationals and everything for triathlon or duathlon, right? Or is it duathlon? Right? Triathlon. Okay, triathlon in early season. So you're talking about June, July timeframe, right?
I could look it up.
Yeah.
I want to say June, July. I want to say 15, 16, whatever that weekend is around there.
So you don't have a lot of time. We have like a month in between the marathon. So we almost kind of have to piggyback a little bit, but that's fine.
Right.
Your running will be good. You'll be set.
Yeah. Well, that being said, is overlapping goals as well. One, I know if I need to be fast, and for both of these goals, I need to be faster. To qualify, I need to be faster on the run, and to do better in nationals than I did the last time I was there, I need to be faster on the run. Right. So a run heavy spring should help on both of those. And I'm not saying sustain where I'm at swimming and biking, but if I sustain where I'm at and got faster on the run, that should, in theory, accomplish that goal.
But once again, it's a run after a bike, so it's a little bit different. And
it is different training. Yeah, I'm not saying they are implicitly the same, but just using.
Well, you know why I said that, right? Because I don't want Brent yelling at me again.
You got to cover your butt, John.
Yeah, because every time I say Brent will say it's not the same thing. Yeah. It's not three different sports. It's one sport with three parts. Yeah.
I take it back. It's August 11th and 12th is USAT.
Well, that's a little bit
nationals.
Okay, well that's even better then, because then we can throw in bike and all that stuff as a cross training, and then after the marathon, then really kind of hit on speed and start doing that. We can do that. Yep, we can be done. So we're good. We're good. So I guess I could talk about my SMART goals for 2018, because what I said last week totally is not smart at all, right?
Okay.
What was my end game that I talked about last week?
To be calm, serene, and happy. I know, because as I listened back to it, I did hear you did the silence, and then you asked me, "Are you there?" I hear crickets, and I'm like, well, no. In my mind at that time, I could not have been more calm or more serene.
Yeah, you were very calm. I made you as my voice. I lulled you in. Yeah, exactly. The exact opposite of a SMART goal, right? It's not specific. Yeah, it's not measurable.
Nothing in that. I don't think we hit one criteria on there, John.
I'm not sure it's achievable. It's attainable. Is it relevant? But it's what am I doing things that are relevant to that? Right? I think I am. I think I've made steps towards that. So I think I am hitting the R a little bit, but time bound. I mean, okay, so is that December 31st? Or just sometime in 2018? I want to be peaceful.
John wants to be zen in 2018.
Very, very so right, which is probably why I have such an issue with it, is because it's not it's definitely not a SMART goal. It's not specific. It's not something I'm doing. I don't have any steps to get there.
Okay.
Well, I do in my head, but saying I want this at the end is not at the end of it. I want this, but I wasn't talking about any goals in between. So, I don't want to get personal, but one thing I had to do, I got done at the beginning of the month. It's done. Now something else raises its head according to that, so I got to deal with that in 3 weeks. So then hopefully it'll be done, and then I can move forward. Then I can
for everyone out there, John adopted a kitten.
No, I'm allergic to cats, so there's no kittens in this house.
But now I don't want to derail since we had a conversation about me and take it too far away from you, but I'm going to bring it back around to like the group as a whole, but then using it as an example / question for you. Okay. So if somebody, once again, a non-SMART goal would be, I want to lose weight, and I may not even hit them all here, but a better example is I want to lose 5 pounds by January 31st.
Right.
That makes it specific, that's measurable, attainable, etc. I want to lose 35 pounds by January 31st might not be as attainable,
Right.
So that's where we would need to drill it down. So,
well, you can also go by I want to lose 15 pounds by December 31st, and I'm going to do that by going NSNG starting today. Things like that. So you have a plan, you have relevant.
Right.
I know that if I stop, I'm going to stop drinking Coke. Like I was talking about before. And that's my first step. And then after that, I'm going to do this. And by the end of it, I should have lost 15 pounds, right?
Right.
I'm going to hire a coach. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And
yeah. I was going to say, so somebody who doesn't have a coach to step them through like you just did for me, or for something like your Zen goal for 2018,
right?
What are some things going back to the whole, maybe for the off season, maybe it's sitting down and really using you, John, now as an example. You have a goal for next year, but I think we need to maybe set some more smaller bites and or set some more realistic. So if it's somebody that wants to, you're going to want to PR in a race, whatever that discipline is, you're going to want to sit down and maybe start setting smaller goals, maybe smaller weekly goals or monthly goals.
Exactly.
If you've never ridden, you may want to ride your bike, and you can set it. I'm going to ride for X number of days, or over this winter, I'm going to ride X number of miles. So John, what type of, coming back to you then, what can we change for you? What can we make? I mean, do you want to maybe set some meditation goals? Would that help you out? Or are there certain things, you don't have to obviously share anything here, but is there certain things that you can set goals? Like you said, something ended at the end of the month and now you're something else. Do you have a checklist of things that you can start working through?
Yeah, in a way I do. I mean, it's a mental, I don't have it written down, and probably I should write it down. I think the first step when you talk about things like this is, in a goal like I want to be peaceful, I want to be this at the end, is you have to determine why aren't you that now?
Right.
What's making you not that? Is it money? Is it your relationship? Is it both? Is it the fact that, your car is breaking down every day, blah, blah, blah. So you have to say, okay, if I take care of the car issue, my car is fine, by the way, but I'm just using it as an example.
Right.
If I take the car issue, okay, what do I need to do to fix the car situation? Okay, do I have the money to get a new car? Is that going to put my finances in worse shape? And then I'm going to be stressed about that. So it's
right.
It's just a step. A step is my relationship not right? Am I spending?
But both yours and I are fantastic. That is not an example.
No, it's not a personal example. Trust me. But you're young. But I've been in them that you don't. You spend so much time at work because home is more stressful than work. So you got to deal with that one way or the other. You have to deal with that, right? So how do you deal with that, and then how do you move forward from that? And that one way or the other, that's going to cause a whole other issues coming up, right? So,
right.
It's like a, what do you call it? Like a business term, a fishbone diagram. You get this one little line, and that kind of shoots off all in different directions, right?
Right.
One little issue becomes 100,000 different things that you got to deal with to get to that one spot. So, and that in itself can become overwhelming, right?
Right.
That's when it's important that if you have a significant other, a wife, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, or whatever you got, that they need to be with you. It always helps if you have a partner that's supportive and that helps you through it.
Right.
That's non-judgmental, that, realizes everybody makes mistakes as they go through life, and we need to we'll fix it. We'll figure out how to fix this, so.
Yep.
So to get to that spot at the end of your life, and it's like I joke all the time. It's like I've only got 16 years to do this. Right.
You keep saying that because you seem to have this ticking clock in your mind, John, but I think you're going to way exceed that.
I do, but
72, right?
70.
70. I was close.
But you know what? It's like, if people haven't heard this in the past, no male in my family ever lived past 70. Nobody. Now, my father was killed when I was 3. That was kind of like not a health issue, but my grandfather lived till 69. He was a month away from his 70th birthday when he passed away, and he was perfectly fine 6 months prior to that. Yeah. So, so it's like, but I will say on September 9th, my uncle, his son, turned 70.
There you go.
We got one. We got one. So maybe he's the first. Maybe we've like turned the corner on this.
They're up 100%.
Right. We're a very morbid family on my side, so it's been an ongoing joke that I've only have, I only got 20 more years. I talked about Mark Maron in his new show. He talks about that. I just don't know how much time I got left.
Yeah.
Yes. What was the joke he was talking about? Have you heard Fish?
I just don't know how much time I got.
I got the whole Grateful Dead and half of the Allman Brothers catalog in my head. I ain't got time. I don't know how much time I have left for another jam band.
Yeah.
So. But it was funny when I heard that, because that's what I say all the time. I don't know how much time I got left. I don't know if I got time for that.
That's exactly how you feel about it.
Yeah, exactly. Where were we? I'd lost my train of thought now.
Oh, we were rambling about John being Zen and how to make it more smart.
Got more personal again. So, but you know what? If anybody's out there and they want like help with that, both Rob and I are business guys. We've worked with this stuff. I'm sure Brent knows about it too, and all these people know about SMART goals. Just shoot us a message on the group, and actually we have a page now. I should talk about that, right?
I was going to say, I'm going to wrap that, what you're talking about, and we can jump into the other two, I call them housekeeping issues of what you have going on there. Yeah. And that's, anyone in the group or out there in podcast land listening, I'd say a summary of what we're just talking about here is, if you, my opinion, John might vary and he can interject, through the winter, if you're saying, hey, what should I be doing? For me, it's simple. Mine's going to be John goes through this discussion with me, and then we set goals and training plans based around it. If you have the wherewithal to hire a coach, do so, because it helps take a lot of that off your plate, makes it easy for just, here's what I got to do. But if you're going to go at it alone for one reason or another, sit down and really define down what you want to do and what time frames you have to work with. You just heard us say that I got 6-7 months to work on one of these things and a couple of extra months to work on the others, and we're going to start filling in appropriately. I don't need to start jumping into 50-mile running weeks next week, but I'm going to have to start a decent training plan here within the next few weeks if I'm going to meet those goals. But it's really defining what those goals are. Narrow it down. Is it I want to finish the race? I want to finish in a specific time, and so on and so forth. You just have to really be specific and match your training to match or meet whatever it is you're choosing to do, even if it's just an event. Like the one year I wanted to ride 100 miles. So every couple weeks I had to increase my mileage, eventually met my goal. I wanted to ride 100 miles by a certain weekend in October. And it just, start building from there.
Yeah. And, if you're doing this on your own and you just have questions, shoot them to us.
Yeah,
we'll help you out. We'll guide you a little bit. But as far as the housekeeping, we're trying to promote the group a little bit more, promote the podcast a little bit more, and I was looking into ads, things like that, kind of way to boost the show, boost the name, and you can't do that from within a group. Apparently, you have to have a page. So there is.
So that's what you had sent this out, and this is where my lack of technical knowledge will shine, because I noticed you had sent me 2 or 3 different things there. So, and I got the page. I think I liked it. But that being said, I'm not even really so sure I'm seeing everything that I'm supposed to on the Facebook page. Like I use the thing on my phone. I don't really even use the computer, and I seem to see the same 2 or 3 posts like over and over. And they're always. I know some of them are pinned at the top, and I guess some of them come back to the top of my feed depending on how they are. So I'm not the most tech savvy. I'll try to help and figure out. But anyone else out there, pay attention to see if we can help John out and take some of the stress off him so we can help him reach his Zen goal.
I do have a paying job too. But actually, this is the fun stuff. But so we created a page. It's for, you'll see it out there. It's just it's facebook.com/teamE4E. Anybody can join this one. So this is a public page. We all know the group as a closed private group. If you come onto the page and you want to join the group, just shoot us a request and we'll get you in there. The page is really more for the business side of things. I hate using the word business, but it really is for kind of that kind of thing. So you'll see more things talking about Garmin products and stuff like that on there than you will on the other pages. But you'll see the show on.
And if I may interject one randomness here, but it fits with this. You said the business page. I hate to say business. Okay. One thing I had heard before, and I like to repeat randomly, and that is profit is not a bad word, right. But greed is. And then guys, John's not exactly going to go buy a Ferrari and retire off of this thing tomorrow. He's just trying to make it so he's not paying for everything out of his pocket at this point.
Right, exactly right. And the coaching brings in a little bit. There's a few people that are on Stripe that are what they call patrons of the show, like 6 people. That gives so much a month, and we could always use more of that. So, see, you can go down to $1 a month, and, I think we're worth $1. That's 25 cents a show, right?
About that, yes.
Yeah. So, but you know what? People love their free stuff, People love free stuff. And then they get very angry if you start charging for their free stuff, even if it's only a quarter. So the show will always be free. But there is an option for you to donate to the show
if you want it, if you'd like to.
That being said, like I said, teamE4E page is facebook.com/teamE4E. Zendurance Now is still offering their $100 off their first month. If you mention the show or mention me or Rob or anything like that, they'll give you $100 off their first month of coaching. And if you go to the page as well, you can click on the link where it says the shop now, but the Squad Locker page is up. I've added more stuff to it. That makes it a little bit, but I put up some pretty I don't want to say lower end or cheaper, but the less expensive shirts, which you bought, right?
Yep. I did. Yes, I bought 3 of them.
And they're still good shirts, so it does twofold. It supports the show and it helps get the word out. So if you go to squadlocker.com or go to the Facebook page, Team E4E page, you can just click on the link and it'll take you over there. And you can order that. And they got, right now, they have free shipping for orders of $100 or more. So
nice.
Still, with the shirts, I think the shirts are, what, $14?
Something in that range. I'd have to go look at them. Yeah.
You have to order 10 of them, but
get together with your friends, marketing.
Yeah. Marketing, man. So that's what we have for this week. Next week,
I want to say one thing, and you can feel free to cut me off here, John.
Okay, I'm cutting you off.
I didn't. John. I didn't clear this with you, okay? But I sent you a link. You never responded to me, and I'm calling out Pete and Gretchen right on this one. There's the Chicago Triathlon next year, and I think you guys should try to guilt John and some other folks into having an E4E triathlon meetup, because I want to come to Chicago for a reason. I want to do a triathlon, and I want Flacco's tacos. Sorry. So if people are setting up Zwips and all this stuff, somebody's got to set up an E4E, meeting somewhere fun. And I think Chicago is a killer city.
We've been talking about that. We were actually talking about trying to put together a Ragnar team of some kind. Maybe.
I remember seeing that thread.
Yeah. But the thing is like, I have no idea how to do that. So if somebody is interested in that and wants to take over the lead of that, I'm all for it. I would prefer it be a trail one. Just because I think it's kind of cool to everybody camp together and then do the runs together. I think that's kind of cool than driving like the Key West one is.
Right. That's how there's the one up in our state, Pennsylvania. There's one down in, it goes from like, I don't know, Harrisburg to Poconos possible, I think. So it's not the trail, it's point to point, but it's not like I've seen that Key West one with the documentary on it where they're running. It's all like, looks like a lot of streets and highways. This is still streets, but very much like farm country. Yeah.
The one I saw in Georgia and the one I think it was Tennessee or Kentucky. It's almost like there's loops. So everybody camps, kind of like Infinitus was when Infinitus was everybody's camped at one spot and there's like this circular spot where everybody's camped and everybody has to run through it. So one person does the first loop and then the next person goes and then the next person goes. And when everybody's done that first loop, then they do the next longer one. Then they do the next longer one. So you're constantly going. It sounds fun to me. And I like the idea of everybody like camping in a circle and things like that. And everybody's supporting everybody.
That sounds very. I didn't know. I had seen the trail runs. I didn't realize that some of them were set up that way.
Yeah,
that sounds awesome. Can I personally make it with a he'll be like a 13, 14-month-old at that time?
Right.
Probably not, but that's something that I think would definitely be awesome if some people can get together and get going.
But like I said, I'm not the. I don't have the time for it, to be honest. But there's a lot of management that goes along with that. You have to collect the money. You have to, everybody has to pay their share. Make sure everybody's got the gear that they need. There's specific gear that you're required to have, and things like that. And you have to start planning almost a year in advance for it. So
right.
So it's it's a process. So if anybody's willing to take that on for teamE4E, definitely let me know, and we'll get moving on it. Because I know I'm interested. I know Nan's interested in it, and by that time, everybody will be good, healthy, and ready to go.
Yes, sir.
All right. So until next week.
Until next week.
All right. John and Rob out.
Signing off.
Thanks for listening to the Endurance for Everyone podcast. If you have comments or questions for the show, send an email to teamE4E@enduranceforeveryone.com. And remember, swim calm, bike strong, and run steady.
Endurance Now Coaching, the relentless pursuit of excellence. Are you looking to increase your fitness level, get stronger, or reach a new goal? There are many people who share that same desire, but often life or injuries get in the way, and their progress slows or even stops. Professional coaching brings a unique element to staying focused, developing the right fitness and nutrition plan, and having a certified coach to help you stay on target and reach your goals. Endurance Now helps you reach your goals through customized training plans, one-on-one consultation, and constant motivation. Whether you're a local or remote, we've got this. Visit www.zendurancenow.com and learn how we can help you.